Today, I'm going to show you how to insert elastic. So we know this belt tube. This is on the Jazzpants, but we need to have a look at elastics. There are two types. This type, which I've salvaged from a bought garment, is your typical braided elastic. You'll see the striations, and you'll notice when you stretch it, it thins out. That's not great. Instead, I'm going to use woven elastic. Notice it does not thin out when I stretch it, and that makes it very useful for even surface area holding weight. Let's find the join seam of the belt tube, and now we're going to turn it over because mine lies flat downwards. From the underside, I'm going to gently unpick that seam. Now I am going in, not from underneath so I can see the stitches, but I'm spreading out that seam, stretching it a little, and gently slicing through each little stitch that I can see, stretching the fabric a little more until I will finally be able to open it enough to have a gap. With a safety pin, pin that through one edge of your elastic. You're going to insert that through your gap and use the hard metal of the safety pin as a bit of a poker to push along underneath that fabric. The metal is rigid and it's easy to push through along that tube. So push and gather the fabric and then ease it out over the elastic. So keep on going using that rigid metal to push along through the loop, gathering the fabric, and then pull the fabric over the elastic. Keep on going all the way around until you get to the end, and you can pull through your safety pin with its trailing elastic. It is going to look fairly unevenly gathered at this stage. Put the garment on your body. It's the easiest way to pull out all the uneven gathering. But of course, it may snap on you and you may lose your elastic into the loop. This is why we keep the elastic attached to that safety pin, because it gives you that hard metal where you can easily poke that back out through the gap. And now hold it quite firmly so it doesn't snap back on you, and give it a real good pull on the short side to ease that elastic evenly around your loop. You have it sufficiently threaded through. You are also going to adjust the tension. And when you have it comfortable for you, tight enough or loose enough, and the belt tube is lying flat, mark the elastic for your desired length of tension. You can use pins, chalk, or both. For a secure join, I'm actually going to be stitching a square with diagonals. So I'm going to offset my markers. They won't be one on top of each other. I'm offsetting them to give me the room of a square. In this case, I'm actually making it a little bit looser. If you offset on the other side, it would make it a little tighter. So bear in mind which way you want to go. Placing that underneath the presser foot, I'm using a straight stitch. I'm going to start with my back stitch to secure my ends, and then I'm stitching along one of my sides of my box. When I get to the end, I keep my needle down and I rotate the elastic so that I'm going to now stitch along the diagonal. You may need to use your hand wheel just to have control over the needle position. Keeping it down and in the elastic, rotate the elastic, and now you're going to do the other edge of your square. I am stitching over loose ends that I hadn't trimmed at the beginning or held out the way, and I will just have to fix that up at the end. So needle down, rotate the elastic, foot down, and do the next diagonal. and finish off your stitching with the back stitch to secure. You now have this shape once I clean up the ends. That was the tail of my beginning stitch. It got caught up. It's actually not going to be seen, and you will stitch in a black or a colour related to your elastic. I'm doing this so you can see. And of course, it will be covered by the belt loop. Just snip off the ends of your elastic. And there we have the box with the diagonals. Stretching that out. If you put this on the body, again, it would snap back very easily, but I want to show you, so I'm going to manipulate that in place. It will sit down nicely within the gap and along the belt tube. The last thing I would do is I would just stitch that up so that it remains closed. The addition of elastic in my belt tube for these jazz pants means they're now very secure on me. The fabric had a high grade of resistant stretch, and I needed that extra security to stay put. Follow and subscribe for more adaptations, and enjoy your comfy life.